Today, let's dive into the world of an incredibly fascinating rodent, the naked mole rat. To start with, let's be honest, this creature isn't exactly easy on the eyes. In fact, its appearance is so unusual, it might catch you off guard. Its skin is wrinkled and almost hairless, giving it a raw, bare look. Its face looks like it barely has eyes, and its large front teeth protrude awkwardly from its mouth. It almost gives off an unsettling, mischievous vibe. Some people might even be startled the first time they see it, simply because it's that odd-looking. It resembles a newborn puppy that hasn't opened its eyes yet, except even strangers. Because it lives in arid regions, some folks even call it a sand puppy. So, what makes the naked mole rat so fascinating? Well, it's known for having not just one, but 4 incredible superpowers. Even having one of these would be enough to impress anyone, but having all 4? That's extraordinary. The first is that they don't age, at least not in the way most animals do. Naked mole rats have been recorded living for over 40 years, and even at that age, they show no visible signs of aging. Their bodies remain just as resilient and functional as they were in youth, which is nearly unheard of in the animal kingdom. Second, they can survive without oxygen for long periods. While oxygen is essential for nearly all life on Earth and most creatures would quickly suffocate without it, naked mole rats have a workaround. When deprived of oxygen, they switch to a plant-like survival mechanism, conserving energy until oxygen returns, at which point they resume normal activity. The fact that a mammal can do this sounds almost mythical. Third, they appear to be immune to cancer. Naked mole rats have evolved multiple overlapping systems that prevent tumor formation, effectively blocking the development of cancer entirely. This has become a major focus of scientific research. Their fourth unique trait is what scientists call eusociality. In other words, they live in highly organized social groups, similar to ants and bees. It's extremely rare for a mammal to have this insect-like social structure, making them one of the only mammals known to exhibit such behavior. They have a colony system with a queen, workers, and soldiers, just like in a beehive. With such extraordinary traits, it's no surprise that scientists are deeply interested in them. Especially given that, genetically, naked mole rats are relatively close to humans. That makes their abilities even more compelling as potential models for medical breakthroughs. In fact, a quick look at the research shows that these animals are being studied for their potential roles in preventing cancer, delaying aging, protecting against strokes and heart attacks, easing pain, treating epilepsy, and even preserving ovarian function. It's as if humanity is trying to unlock every possible secret from this creature, hoping it holds the key to a longer, healthier life. Now, despite the name naked mole rat, they're not actually closely related to true moles. We'll talk more about real moles another time. Naked mole rats are native to Africa, and even then, only to a small region in East Africa, specifically the Horn of Africa. That limited distribution alone adds to their mystery. What's even more mysterious is how they live. From the moment they're born until the day they die, they almost never come to the surface. Their entire life cycle happens underground, making them hard to observe and difficult to study. It's as though they exist in their own secret world. Because of their subterranean lifestyle, they've lost the need for vision, and even their internal biological clocks have become irrelevant. There's no real concept of day or night in their tunnels. They just sleep whenever they feel like it, eat when they're hungry, and repeat. Their lives follow no schedule other than their own natural rhythm. In terms of diet, naked mole rats feed on the underground parts of plants, things like tubers and rhizomes, but since they don't surface, they have to dig to find food. As a result, their tunnel systems are massive, sometimes covering the equivalent of several football fields. Their entire existence revolves around digging, and that's reflected in their physical features. Their front teeth, which sit outside their lips, are perfectly designed for this purpose. Instead of being tucked inside the mouth like most animals, the teeth are exposed so they can dig continuously without swallowing dirt. Every part of their anatomy serves their underground lifestyle. What does it all mean? It means that while digging through soil, naked mole rats are able to keep their mouths tightly shut to prevent dirt from getting inside. The fact that they can gnaw through soil with their mouths closed is already quite impressive. The soil they excavate is passed along in a relay by the colony members to the tunnel entrance. Then, using a powerful push of their hind legs, they eject the soil onto the surface. From the outside, this process resembles a miniature volcanic eruption, with small piles of dirt forming around the hole. This visual cue is also how researchers typically locate naked mole rats in the wild. When they see a little volcano erupting, it's a clear sign that the mole rats are joyfully digging below. Once they discover food, naked mole rats also show a surprisingly strategic approach to eating. For instance, when they find a sweet potato, they don't consume it entirely. Instead, they nibble away a portion and leave the rest, even going as far as refilling the hole with soil after they're done. Why do they do this? Because this allows the sweet potato to stay alive and continue growing. When it matures again, they can return to eat it once more. It's a method quite similar to harvesting chives. You don't pull up the whole plant, so you can keep harvesting it over time. If they were to eat it all at once, they'd be forced to dig more to find the next one, which would be a waste of energy. So in a way, naked mole rats are not only efficient harvesters, but also careful managers of their underground crops. It's a surprisingly wise system. That said, living entirely underground and depending solely on foraged food still comes with its limitations. Food is scarce, and energy must be conserved. For this reason, naked mole rats have given up one of the fundamental traits of mammals: thermoregulation. Unlike most mammals, they are not warm-blooded. Instead, they have become cold-blooded, or more accurately, poikilothermic, relying on external temperatures to regulate their body heat. When it gets too hot, they retreat to deeper, cooler parts of the tunnel system. When it's too cold, they huddle together in large groups to stay warm. This way, they avoid the energy costs typically associated with maintaining a stable body temperature. Among all known mammals, they are the only ones to have adapted this way, making them truly unique. And yet, even this remarkable adaptation isn't the most extraordinary thing about them. There's something even more astonishing. Naked mole rats possess 4 biological superpowers, and one of them is their exceptional lifespan. In a previous discussion about porcupines, it was mentioned that the longest living rodent on Earth is, in fact, the naked mole rat. In captivity, some have been known to live over 40 years. For a rodent, this is almost supernatural, and it has attracted the attention of scientists worldwide. One major area of interest is their defiance of the Gompertz law of mortality, a biological principle which states that in mammals, the risk of death increases with age. Simply put, the older you get, the higher your chances of dying, as aging inevitably leads to the deterioration of organs and bodily functions. In humans, for example, the risk of death begins to climb significantly after the age of 30 and doubles roughly every 8 years. By the time a person reaches 100, their mortality rate approaches nearly 100%. This is why there's an expected natural limit to human lifespan, but naked mole rats seem to be an exception. When researchers plotted their mortality curve, they found something unexpected. In 2018, American biologist Rochelle Buffenstein published a comprehensive study on the mortality of naked mole rats, analyzing over 3,000 individuals raised in captivity across more than 30 years. The results showed that the mortality rate of naked mole rats did not increase with age. In fact, after reaching maturity, their risk of dying slightly declined. This finding was shocking and completely defied biological expectations. Essentially, naked mole rats do not age in the way other mammals do. Their bodily functions and even appearance remain consistent throughout their lives. Of course, appearance may not matter much to them, but the point stands. As long as there's no accident or external cause, naked mole rats are almost biologically immortal. However, accidents do happen. The longer they live, the more likely it is that something will go wrong. They face natural predators, like snakes that invade their tunnels, and when they're active at the entrance, those moments when their mini volcanoes are erupting, they can be spotted and caught by owls. During harsh years, some starve or die of thirst. Others may die from infections after being injured in fights. These are all common causes of death. In captivity, infections are still the leading cause of death, but without predators and with food and water readily available, they live significantly longer than their wild counterparts. So why don't naked mole rats age like other animals? Scientists don't have a complete answer yet, but they're starting to make progress. For example, in July this year, researchers at Kumamoto University discovered a special mechanism related to serotonin metabolism within naked mole rats, suggesting that their biological processes are regulated in a highly unusual way. Naked mole rats possess an extraordinary ability to eliminate senescent cells in a timely manner. These aged cells, which stop dividing later in life, don't die off like they should. Instead, they linger in the body, occupying space, barely functioning, and releasing harmful substances. As these malfunctioning cells accumulate, the body begins to age. But naked mole rats seem to have evolved a natural mechanism that automatically clears these senescent cells, making room for fresh, healthy ones. This may be a key reason their organs and bodily functions remain remarkably youthful throughout their lives. Scientists believe this could be a major clue in the quest to unlock the secret to staying young, and are actively studying this process to see if it could someday be replicated in humans. When it comes to cancer, we know that its essence lies in uncontrolled cell proliferation. Normally, the body doesn't need excessive numbers of cells, but when a few mutated cells begin dividing recklessly, they create a tumor. The older we get, the more errors can occur during gene replication, which increases our risk of cancer. That's the common understanding. Yet naked mole rats live for over 40 years without developing cancer. Their cells follow the rules, dividing strictly according to plan with no rogue behavior. It's remarkable. This phenomenon has attracted great interest from the scientific community. So far, researchers have identified at least 2 key factors that help protect naked mole rats from cancer. The first is a protein called p53, often referred to as the guardian of the genome. This protein helps maintain genetic stability by minimizing replication errors and inducing cell death in faulty cells. Interestingly, p53 is not unique to naked mole rats. Humans and other rodents also have it. But what makes the mole rats different is the sheer quantity of p53 they produce. One study found that naked mole rats have up to 50 times more p53 than regular mice, significantly enhancing their cancer resistance. The second protective factor is hyaluronic acid, a substance now popular in cosmetic and medical treatments. But in naked mole rats, this acid plays a very different role. They produce an ultra-high molecular weight version of hyaluronic acid, 5 times larger in size and 10 times more concentrated than what is found in humans. This special type of hyaluronic acid sits between cells and prevents them from crowding together, which in turn stops tumors from forming. Because of this discovery, the naked mole rat was named the Vertebrate of the Year by Science magazine in 2013, highlighting its profound impact on medical research. Life underground presents another unique challenge: oxygen scarcity. While the Earth's atmosphere contains about 21% oxygen, the tunnels of naked mole rats may contain as little as 6%. Despite the thin air, these animals live and function normally, which has intrigued scientists. In 2017, a team in the US conducted an experiment comparing naked mole rats with regular lab mice. They simulated the oxygen levels of a mole rat tunnel, dropping it to 5%. Ordinary mice died within 15 minutes, but naked mole rats survived for 5 hours without any issues. Then came the real test. Researchers reduced the oxygen level to 0%, a completely anoxic environment. Regular mice lasted less than a minute and could not be revived. Naked mole rats, however, endured up to 18 minutes and were able to regain consciousness afterward. Even more surprising, their behavior remained completely normal, indicating no brain damage had occurred. This finding is highly significant. Normally, cells rely on glucose metabolism to generate energy, a process that requires oxygen. Without oxygen, glucose can't be metabolized, and energy production stops. Brain cells are especially sensitive and can suffer permanent damage after just 4 to 6 minutes without oxygen. So how do naked mole rats avoid this? Researchers discovered that in extreme low oxygen situations, naked mole rats switch to a type of anaerobic metabolism. They abandon glucose and begin metabolizing fructose instead, similar to how some plants generate energy. This method is far less efficient than oxygen-based metabolism, but it provides enough energy to keep brain cells alive during critical moments. Scientists believe that if this metabolic switch could be triggered in humans during events like strokes or heart attacks, it might protect the brain long enough to allow for life-saving intervention. Beyond their biology, naked mole rats also exhibit a rare form of social organization. While many social animals, like wolves, lions, primates, and dolphins, live in cooperative groups, one area they don't typically share is mating. In most species, individuals compete for the right to reproduce. But true sociality, or eusociality, is something else entirely. It involves a strict reproductive division of labor, where only a select few individuals are allowed to reproduce, while the rest focus on supporting the colony. This is common among insects like ants and bees, where the queen handles all reproduction, and others feed and protect her and the offspring. Remarkably, naked mole rats, despite being mammals, have adopted a system nearly identical to that of ants. A colony may consist of 30 to 300 individuals, but only one large female, the queen, and 1 to 3 males are responsible for reproduction. All other individuals, regardless of sex, are rendered infertile by pheromones released by the queen. They work tirelessly, each fulfilling specific roles. Some take care of the queen and the pups. Some forage for food, others dig tunnels or guard the colony from predators. Every naked mole rat seems fully committed to the welfare of the group. As the colony grows larger and the network of tunnels expands, the queen's pheromones sometimes fail to reach the outer edges. At this point, young, sexually mature individuals may break away to form new colonies, mirroring exactly how ants establish new nests. It's astonishing that two species as evolutionarily distant as insects and mammals could independently evolve such a similar structure. This convergence suggests it's no mere coincidence. Some have speculated that ants are the most evolutionarily successful species on Earth because of their absolute group cohesion and lack of internal conflict. Now, naked mole rats demonstrate that mammals too can follow this extreme model of eusocial living. It raises a provocative question. Could this be the ultimate form of social organization in nature? The idea is radical, but the naked mole rat might just be living proof.